Hi everyone, I'm Anthony Alvarez, account manager here at McElroy, and with me today I've got Jeff Turner, sales channel manager here at McElroy.
Hey, thanks Anthony.
Yeah.
You know, one of the pieces of feedback that we kept getting after Infusion 23 was about our breakout session where we talked about how to build a small scale fab shop in your own operation. So we thought what better way to share that to even more folks than to bring it to one of our monthly or quarterly webinars.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get into it.
All right, Anthony, here we are in front of the first machines we want to talk about. The Acrobat with quick fit carriage, but in a format where you can actually be in a productivity and a fabrication mode.
Yeah, absolutely. So as we move back to our machine here, you can see we've got the Acrobat Quick Fit, which initially when the marketplace asked for a large diameter fusion machine, they were needing something to go up overhead and do those big 24-inch tie-ins for them. So out came the Acrobat Quick Fit.
And we still have that, and it's still vitally important to any operation in the field when you're trying to tie in tight spots or overhead.
Absolutely. Now, once we did come out with that machine, which we still offer, the marketplace came to us and said, hey, we need something that could do large diameter fabrication for us as well.
Yeah,
right?
So when you think about short runs of larger diameter pipe that they want to do where it's easier to change out inserts as opposed to taking jaws on and off, or whenever they want to do reducers and just have jobs on the ground in one place, the insert concept was something that they really would like to see without losing the opportunity to go tie it in overhead with lightweight equipment. So we came up with a concept, a new insert package, so to speak, for the quick fit to go along with the core so you could actually fuse all the way down to 10-inch and reduce, up to 2 sizes between anything you're trying to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you can see back here, we've got our insert package inserts onto our jaws and our quick fit, and that provides you a few advantages, kind of like you see in the machine right now. We've got this big 500 millimeter or 20-inch piece out here on the movable side, and then we've got this 10-inch 250 millimeter piece here on the fixed side that's getting reduced down. Pretty common in a fabrication type situation, putting a reducer in there. One other thing that the insert package allows you to do now is these inserts are a lot thinner than the original top jaws here, and they allow you to grab onto these fabricated fittings or injection molded fittings a lot easier whenever you're going to make those fusions in your fab shop.
Very helpful there. And you think about the specialty fittings, whether they are, I don't know, T's or Y's or large diameter elbows, and Bryce is gonna move a piece in here right now. This machine's not gonna give you the capability to do that, but you have partners out there, whether they're your pipe partners or large scale distributors who have the ability to make their own fabrication pieces, large scale like this, that you can bring into your own smaller fab operation and actually use in the machine like the quick fit with inserts, or even some of the smaller scale machines that we have that we're going to show you in this too. So utilize your partnerships with your pipe relationships to bring in some of those larger scale items that you couldn't necessarily make in your fab shop, and then get the benefits of doing your own smaller scale fabrication in your shop that way with the quick fit by bringing these in for yourself.
And the great thing about these supplemental pieces that you can order from your pipe manufacturer friends, Jeff, is that these are all going to go through their own quality assurance program. So that by the time they get to you, you're dealing with the tried and tested fusions on your supplemental piece here. You're gonna be able to use that and integrate it into your operations in your fab shop pretty seamlessly.
Yeah. Well, and if you just want to build some sort of outlet on the fusion itself, we have our Hornet XL and our Hornet, Anthony. So you can still do fusion outlets in a fabrication operation, whether the pipe's sticking out of the machine or whether you're putting it on a pipe stand to make some sort of manifold or fixture that you need to take onto a job site.
Yeah, absolutely. Not only in the field is productivity key, but also in the fab shop, kind of like you're seeing here. This is a typical setup that you could easily see is having the larger piece of pipe already fused up. It's in its cool down time, and now we're over here. We're going to take advantage of that. Instead of just waiting for that to cool down, we're going to hop on either our Hornet XL, which can do up to those 6-inch outlets on up to 24-inch pipe, or hop on our Hornet that can do up to your 2-inch outlets on up to 24-inch pipe as well. So you have different options there as far as outlets are concerned, as far as equipment that you can definitely use to your advantage when you're fabricating, long runs, manifolds, whatever it is.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to use your productivity tools that you already have with pipe stands and such that you've already got. You may not have to have a need for this machine to be the pipe stand for you since you're already fusing here. You might just be making a manifold on pipe stands. Utilize it there as well. It's all about planning, especially in a fab shop. You're going to make the most of your time and the most of your effort, and it's going to make the most of your overall value proposition, making the most money.
Absolutely. One last thing I want to touch on with our quick fit here, we're kind of shifting over. We've got our EP 2800Q Series 2. This is going to be our hydraulic power unit that is offered with the quick fit. You may have already seen the webinar that we've conducted on this. Feel free to go back and revisit that for a more in-depth dive into this specific HPU. But the main thing I wanted to touch on with this, Jeff, is going to be the intelligent power management system. Because in a fab shop, as we go throughout our different equipment here, you're gonna have a lot of stuff plugged in, right? A lot of heaters that need to be hot, HPUs that are gonna be turned on. And having that intelligent power management is going to be a real game changer. That way you're not, fighting for power in between your different machines while you're fabricating different pieces of equipment, right?
Right. Most of the partners that we see do this in their shops, they're making a space in their current building or facility, right? So they make a space so they're still sharing the same type of power requirements they already have. Last thing you want is a heater to stop working because a breaker flips somewhere in the middle of a heat soak, right? So the great thing is the power management system in this is going to allow you to just pull only the power needed and you to continue operation in your shop as you currently do.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, like all McElroy hydraulic power units, we're going to have our trusty Data Logger 7 sitting right on our HPU here, and this is going to be a big role when it comes to quality assurance for all your fabrication pieces, right? This is going to be what you can have at the end of the entire fabrication piece, where you can say, I know that this fusion joint was done per this standard. And completed in our fabrication shop.
Yeah, and the data logger, especially if you're doing fabrication in your own shop, you want to have some sort of quality control and evidence of how the fusion was put together. So if you're working with some sort of hydraulic unit machine, you're going to be able to record pressure over time, and you're going to be able to save that to the vault. If you don't have a hydraulic machine where you're not recording pressure over time, it's okay, because something like a Hornet or a Spider, where you're doing a fusion outlet or a socket fusion, despite the fact you're not recording the pressure over time, you can still take pictures and add notes and upload them to the vault, and it would still actually create a GPS location of where that was done. So you have some sort of documentation in the vault that you can share with those that you're using this fabrication piece with, that you're selling it to say, hey, look, this is part of our quality control. These are the pictures, these are the visual indications that this fusion looks like it was done properly, and here we go. You give them the document hard copy, you can share that with them digitally, whatever. The data logger gives you the tools to create a quality control that others don't have. And that's just another benefit of using these machines.
Right, yeah, the data logger can definitely differentiate you in the marketplace if you're doing a bunch of fusions, and adding that extra quality control factor definitely puts a big plus on your sheet here. So, Jeff, is there anything else we want to touch on our quick fit here before we move on to our next piece?
No, this quick fit, just keep in mind, this is a productivity package for the quick fit, the Acrobat 630 quick fit package, and it allows you to do that production on the ground 10-inch to 24-inch. So that's 250 millimeter all the way up to 630 millimeter. So that is available, and it's still pretty lightweight compared to others in the marketplace to be able to move this machine around your shop. So the next ones we'll start going down in pipe size, and we'll hit up our Acrobat 315 now.
All right, let's do it.
All right, Anthony, another traditional piece of equipment that we can use inside of a fabrication operation is our Acrobat 315.
Absolutely, Jeff. Yeah, the Acrobat 315, very versatile piece of equipment. As you can see right now, it's in that 4-jaw configuration where you're going to be doing most of your fabrication work. But one of the great things about not only the Acrobat 315, but the 250, 160, or even the quick fit is you're going to be able to take this machine down to a 3-jaw configuration. It can go overhead, but if you're in a fab shop, you're going to be taking it down to 3-jaw in order to accommodate specialty fittings that might go on this side, the fixed jaw, so you can accommodate those real, small fittings or whatever it is you're throwing in over there.
Yeah, and then also with some changes that we've made to our heater and our facer, especially piping, like you'll see here, this dual containment pipe that's in here. The heater and the facer will be able to accommodate both the outer wall and the inner wall, the carrier pipe, and those types of applications. So we're very excited about it being able to accommodate that. So it is a perfect addition if you're looking to go up to 12-inch in your fab shop. you know, if you're looking to complete it from 1/2 inch all the way up to 24 inch, it's definitely a piece of equipment that you want in. And again, going down to 3-jaw configuration for those specialty fittings that you have purchased or gotten from one of your pipe partners, whether it's a large scale distributor or one of your pipe manufacturers. Great machine to be able to put that together for you to operate in your small scale operation of your fab shop.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, not only is the 315 carriage, you know, super versatile, we've also got our EP800 hydraulic power unit down here sitting on the ground. And this is going to be, you know, that if you're familiar with McElroy equipment, that 3-stage manifold block that everyone's, you know, used to, knows how to operate. And also in the HPU, just like on the quick fit, you're going to have that intelligent power management, keeping that power requirement at a minimum. And then, of course, it's also going to have the data logger capability, right, Jeff? And that's going to play right back into that quality assurance that we just touched on, right, with the quick fit back there.
Yeah, and you're going to want to have some sort of quality assurance on anything you do in your fab shop. And the Acrobat, obviously, is a perfect tool to use that with, because you will be recording pressure over time. And again, touching on the HPU, all of our HPUs run the same way, whether it's a smaller version on the EP800 where you have switches and dials, or you have potentiometers and levers on the EP2800 Series 2. They're going to operate in the same fashion, so you're going to be able to understand it whether you know how to, whether you've been trained on a smaller machine or a larger machine, you're going to be able to understand how to actually use that HPU. And the Acrobat 250 is no different than the 315 in its operation and what you can do with it. It's just a little bit smaller scale machine.
Yeah, absolutely. So same versatility of the 315 that we just talked about, able to take the machine down to a 3-jaw configuration with no tools required. Takes about 5 seconds to get there, right? To accommodate all those specialty fittings and stuff you might run into in a fabrication setting. Great thing about the 250, you're going to be able to accommodate those specialty pipes like we just saw in the 315 as well, right, Jeff?
Yes, and it's going to have a wider range of pipe that you can fuse. So no need to have, if it's a fab operation and you're just doing fabrication or production work in a shop or on a job site, you don't have to use an Acrobat 160, because your Acrobat 250 is going to run just like your 160. It's going to have the same cylinders, have the same type of DVS requirements and standard to be used and time requirements, just like the 160. And the inserts that you can get for it will go all the way down to 63 millimeter or 2 inch. So it accommodates everything that the 160 does. So that you're essentially in a fab shop, your 250 is a 160 and 250 together.
Yeah, absolutely. You walk into a fab shop today that's doing a lot of polypropylene, you're going to see an Acrobat 250 in there somewhere. Just due to that larger size range, you're able to accommodate more sizes in one machine. That makes it a real popular fabrication option.
So we've covered the gamut of butt fusion right now on just your traditional butt fusion machines that can do your straight line stuff and can accommodate the needs of fusing your specialty fittings from your partner. All of these sizes also can be able, all the pipe sizes that go in these machines are able to utilize the use of the Hornet XL and the Hornet, the traditional Hornet and the Hornet XL. So you can do that. You can use these as the holders for the pipe to be productive as possible, or you can actually put those on productivity tools such as pipe stands and make sure you're fusing manifolds on that when you're doing outlets. We've covered all that. Now, Anthony, I think it's time for us to talk a little bit about socket fusion and some miter fusion opportunities that they have on some smaller machines.
Absolutely. Let's move on to the next one.
Yep. All right, Anthony, here we are on a 160 machine that can actually do miters and butt fusion. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, of course. We're standing in front of our Polygon machine, which is McElroy's answer to the marketplace for a machine that can do miters, straight butt fusion, and which we'll get to in a minute, can also do socket fusion.
Yeah.
So the Polygon is going to be your machine. As you can see right now, it's going to be hooked up, and we're going to be able to do anywhere from all the way up to 45-degree miters inside of this unit. And we're also going to be able to do it in pipe sizes from 2 inch to 6 inch through inserts that share with the Acrobat. So if you have Acrobat inserts laying around, those are actually going to be able to plug right into your Polygon here, and you'll be able to use them for that application as well. Just like the other machines, pretty versatile. You could actually break it all the way down to 3 or 2 jaws by removing a few parts here, and you're going to be able to accommodate fittings just like we were talking about before, and you're going to be able to fuse those up just the same. Now, when it comes to the Polygon, I know there's not a hydraulic power unit that hooks up to this specific model, right, Jeff? This is going to be just hand operated with our wheel. But nonetheless, it's still a hydraulic machine.
Still hydraulic.
So you make all your miters up to 45 degrees and data log them at the same time, right? So that's going to play a lot into your quality assurance. You know, once again, you know who made the joint, what spec it was made to, and if it was done correctly.
Yeah, and a few other quality assurance items about the Polygon. Well, first with the data logger, you're going to have a much more accurate view of what your pressure is going to be, as opposed to other machines that are out there that have spring loads and things of that nature that are just not quite as accurate. We were already more accurate when we were using this analog gauge right here, but with the data logger, you're going to be very specific. So you're going to be able to make sure there's a quality fusion, and with the vault, you'll be able to upload that to the vault, also take pictures, have all the quality assurances and pictures that you need to, and notes of the job site situation. And you talked a little bit about the socket fusion aspect of this machine too. These jaws can be taken off, and spider jaws can be added to the machine, so you have a bench top that will do 63 millimeter up to 125 millimeter. And again, when you're talking about quality assurance, even though that's not the data logger won't record pressure over time, you can still capture all the data of the fusion process, meaning the pre-fusion setup, the notes going into the fusion, as well as the post-fusion visual indication of what it looks like, which will track the GPS location, give it a name, give it a number, give it a vault database, so you have that you can pass on to whoever is getting that piece, so there's quality assurance there that the operator was qualified to do the work and the work was done appropriately.
Yeah, absolutely. And one last thing I want to touch on with our with our Polygon here is, although we don't have that hydraulic power management or the hydraulic power unit with an intelligent power management system on it, this unit is actually run with just one cord to the wall for your heater. Your facer is actually going to be powered by a drill. So
yes,
once again, one plug to the wall to power the whole setup, and you're good to go.
That's right. So getting down into more socket fusion production, we'll talk about the Smart Fab, and Bryce is going to roll in our Smart Fab here.
All right.
Excellent. This is a fabrication production workhorse. Every fab shop I've been to of our partners that are out there, whether it's a distributor or a pipe manufacturer, has at least 4 of these in their shop.
Yeah, the Smart Fab 125, like you said, Jeff, it's going to be an absolute workhorse, a tank in your fabrication shop. It's going to ship in a nice big wooden crate, and most everybody pulls it right out, puts it right on top of that crate, starts it as a workstation, and goes from there.
Yeah, and I've seen folks actually line this up on a cart itself and put pipe on pipe stands and just roll it along for production in a warehouse that would go a football field long, and then they would use lifts to raise up the pipe and tie it in with their trusty spider. But if you want to look at the production here, look at what you're doing with the Smart Fab. Someone could come in and tie their spider right on and do, on this fusion outlet, they could tie in their next piece right out of that, right after doing it. Now, of course, you don't have to use the machines as your pipe stands also. There are pipe stands out there that you can use to put your spider on, and it's a great production tool as well. These are all pieces that we would highly recommend that you have a part of some sort of local fabrication operation, so you can be as effective and efficient as possible. But the Smart Fab is going to do your socket fusion 1/2 inch all the way up to 4 inches, which is 20 millimeter all the way up to 125 millimeter. And it is just, these things just are monsters. They do a great job. They're sturdy. As you can see here, we've got a long piece of pipe in it, and it's hardly moving. We recommend after a certain length, you want to give, put some sort of productivity accessory underneath it, like a
pipe stand or a dry vise.
But yeah, this machine is going to give you the most bang for your buck when you're talking about socket fusions.
Yeah, absolutely. As far as the fabrication piece goes, we're talking about versatility on all of our machines as we've gone through the webinar here, but this Smart Fab 125 with the individual articulating jaws is going to allow you to grab onto whatever weird fitting or fabrication piece that you've had fabbed up and put in here, you're going to be able to grab onto that with the jaws and the inserts. And not only do the individual jaws articulate, but these rear jaws will actually articulate back and forth as well. So you have a lot of options here as far as putting something funky in here and the machine's still grabbing onto it and still making that socket fusion for you.
You don't have to worry about as much slippage as you've seen on other units in the field because of the fact that each one of these jaws actually open and close on different pieces of the pipe. So if there's a reducer or some sort of expansion, it's going to be able to grab on to the back of it that's smaller and to the front of it that's larger, or vice versa. And also, because these jaws are made all the way through the base of this machine, there's no flaring out of any of the jaws, especially when you're working on larger diameter pipes in here. So you don't have to worry about inconsistent fusions at the bottom and the top on those pieces, because this jaw is actually built throughout the base, and we're opening and closing it. You're moving the entire base together.
And I know from talking to plenty of guys out there in fab shops around the country, one of their favorite things that is built into the Smart Fab is actually going to be sitting right here inside of our heater. And this heater is actually going to index and be able to flip around. Now, the ability to do that, just seeing it for the first time might be like, yeah, so what, the heater flips around. But what that does is that eliminates having to pull an entire fabrication, maybe that's 50, 100 pounds, and bringing it all the way to this side or vice versa. And now instead of doing that, you just flip the heater around, change the inserts, and you're back going again.
Right. Think about how long this piece is. Even if it's light, you'd have to take this piece off, move it around there, put the fitting piece on this side, or you would have to take the 500-degree heater heads off and put them on other sides. This allows you to simply flip the heater, change out the quick inserts, and change which side the pipe goes on and which side the fitting goes onto. Very easy, very productive.
Oh yeah,
awesome machine.
Eliminating that bring around type of situation is going to be not only do you have to get it in there as a fabricator, but you got to get it square, right? You got to get it level and everything like that. Being able to keep it right there where you already have it level and set up, it's going to take so much time off and make you that much more productive as compared to using other equipment out there.
So with that being said, we've talked about options for your own fabrication shop, 1/2 inch all the way up to 24 inch. And let's go ahead and give you a visual and recap that for you right now.
Okay, everyone, we've talked a lot about the data logger and quality assurance as we've gone through our presentation on fabrication here today. And one thing that we wanted to show you is going to be the McElroy vault. This is going to be where all your fusion joints come to once you've completed them. If you've got your data logger hooked up to some sort of cellular signal or Wi-Fi, anything like that, the vault account's free to sign up for on McElroy.com, and it's going to allow you to have access to a spot where you can organize all of your joint reports, sort them, tag them, share them out. It's going to give you a lot of functionality, and it will even help with diagnosing your fusion joints once they're inside the vault to make sure that they're good to go. So let's click on one of our joint reports here. We'll just give a brief look at it. This is what you're going to see once you get in, and essentially what this is going to do is it's going to come in. It's going to give you the fusion joint report that you just did on your machine for your fabrication piece, and then it's going to give you additional information down the left side here as far as the operator, standard, fusion pressures, all these different kind of things. And not only are you going to be able to access all that information on the left, you're going to be able to add either additional notes on the back end for an inspector or the system owner, whoever it may be, who wants to have access to that. If we go back to the job name that we were just in, not only can you do fusion joints on your data logger, but you could also pressure test fusion joints and capture that as well with the data logger. So that's an additional thing that you can do with the data logger, is go ahead and plug this up to your system once it's complete and actually conduct your entire pressure test using the data logger 7. That way, you're not just having an inspector come through and give the rubber stamp of completion on a pressure test once the system's in place. You actually have a pressure over time graph that's going to allow you to share out to someone in order to get your warranty for your piping system and all those additional benefits of having that. So that's what the vault is. That's what its operation does. One last thing that we want to touch on before we before we round it out for the day is going to be not only can you capture fusion joints on your Data Logger 7, but you're also going to be able to inspect all of your equipment that's inside of your fabrication shop. So not only are you going to be able to document all your fusions and give that quality assurance as well, you're also going to be able to prove that your equipment that you are using throughout that whole process has been inspected and is up to date. And all that works very similar to the Vault. It's all done through your data logger, and will actually, you can upload all your inspections, same type of principle, to a virtual platform, and they'll all be located and stored there for your use and quality assurance needs.
All right, just to recap, when you're talking about socket fusion, 1/2 inch up to 4 inch, that's 20 millimeter up to 125 millimeter. The SmartFab 125 is your workhorse benchtop machine for fabrication. Also, your Spider 125 is a great asset when you're working on 63 to 125 millimeter socket fusions. Butt fusion up to 10 inches, you'll have 2 machines in your mix for this fabrication operation. The first is a polygon, and that's going to allow you to butt fuse 2 inch all the way up to 6 inch, or 63 millimeter up to 160 millimeter. You can also miter in those sizes if you'd like. If you add spider jaws to this, it gives you a bench top machine that does socket fusions 63 millimeter to 125 millimeter. For a machine for just straight butt fusion up to 10 inch, that's 250 millimeter, you're looking at the Acrobat 250. With the right inserts, you can go from 63 millimeter up to 250 millimeter, that's 2 to 10 inch on butt fusions, and it gives you everything you need in that butt fusion machine. For any type of outlets that you want to add to any manifold or any piece that you're making, your Hornet and your Hornet XL are the 2 pieces of equipment for that application. Your Hornet is going to handle fusion outlets up to 2 inch on mains all the way up to 24 inch, and your Hornet XL will handle as much as a 6 inch outlet on most applications, also on mains up to 24 inches. Your Acrobat 315 is going to take care of those butt fusions up to 12 inch. So that is a machine that fits in that space for you. Don't forget a very key piece of this entire fabrication operation, allowing you to go up to 24 inches or 630 millimeter. And that is the productivity insert package that goes along with a quick fit core package. This allows you to have a lighter weight machine on the ground that's for 10 inch to 24 inch, or 250 millimeters up to 630 millimeters. This insert package makes it super easy for you guys to actually have a larger diameter fabrication operation on the ground. Don't forget about the addition of a data logger in this entire process. Having a data logger gives your customer the reassurance that you have quality control and quality assurance on your side by actually doing the fusion the appropriate way, showing them the process of fusion over time, and or that visual indication that it was done appropriately.
All right, everyone. Now we're going to go ahead and enter into the Q&A section of the presentation here. And with me, Jeff, as you just got off the mic talking about some different things for your fabrication shop. Let's take a few questions from the crowd here.
Yeah. What do we have out there, Bryce? What are they asking us?
So our first question that we got in today is, when I am socket fusing a spool piece in my fab shop, is it possible to utilize the data logger and the Vault?
So they're asking if they're doing a spool piece, socket fusion in their fab shop, what can they use the data logger for?
Yeah, absolutely. We get this question all the time. Usually it's, hey, can I only use my data logger on my butt fusion tools or things with a hydraulic power unit? You know, the answer is no. The data logger applies to those socket fusion tools as well. Now, you won't get a pressure over time graph like you will with a butt fusion, but you're going to be able to record all those same data points as far as operator specification, where that fusion joint took place, and all those extra things. And then you're going to be able to store that joint report in the Vault as well. So the answer to that question is yes, you can use it with those socket fusion tools and get pretty much all the same functionality as a butt fusion data log, but you just want to have that pressure over time graph.
Yeah, and the key there too is making sure you record notes and the pictures of the actual fusion, because if you're doing that, you'll be able to upload that. It'll number the fusion just like it will on a butt fusion. Again, no pressure over time, but
We see a lot of people in the field. This actually started from the gas market. We started seeing them use that on their own, and that type of recording on the data logger has really grown in the past couple of years.
Yep, absolutely.
What else we got, Bryce?
So our next question is, if I have other McElroy equipment, like a rolling unit or a TrackStar unit, would those machines be useful in a fabrication setting as well?
The question is, I don't know if you guys heard him, but can my rolling or track units be utilized in fabrication?
Great question. So
Yeah.
one we get all the time, let's say, you've got some, rolling unit or TrackStar unit, maybe you rent it out and stuff, and it's kind of just hanging around the shop a little bit. If that's a low force type of unit that can apply the proper pressures for the standard that you have selected for polypropylene, then the answer is yes.
Yeah.
You can definitely use those units to fabricate up pipe and fittings as much as you want. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, none at all. If you're using a gas powered unit, you want to make sure you got the right ventilation near a shop or in a shop, or you do it outside. If it's an electric rolling unit, I mean, it's perfect for doing any type of fab work inside of a shop. So,
right.
Sure. I mean, you're just fabricating. You're not having to get that into any type of tight space. So yeah, absolutely. Use any of the equipment that you have that can meet the standards and have the right inserts. I mean, that's equipment you can use for fabrication no matter what.
And playing into our last question a little bit, those rolling units, the TrackStar units, are all going to be data logger compatible as well. So you still get that part of it too.
Yep. What else, Bryce? What do we got?
So our next question has to do with our inspection app. So what are some additional benefits of using that McElroy inspection app?
Anthony, you've been involved with the inspection app quite a bit. So it's very helpful to log what's going on and what's been repaired with a piece of equipment.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the inspection app does a great job of a lot of things. So it's not only is it going to allow you to, show the customer that, hey, this machine's been inspected. It's been, it's up to, the inspection criteria and it's functioning properly. So you're able to give that extra level of quality assurance, not only on the fusion, but the machine itself. And then inside that inspection app, you're going to be able to keep and store all those records with all the diagnostic tools along with it inside the vault. And then my favorite feature, at least from all the stuff that I've used it on, is you could even per machine that you pick, you can come up with part lists on the computer there, and then right at the end you've got all your stuff right in one spot instead of jotting numbers down on a piece of paper and then you've got them all over the place. It centralizes that info, and then you can go in and do your parts order right there, bang bang bang, exactly what you need.
And it's like a Carfax for your machine itself. You're able to go back and look at the data and see what's been replaced before, where that's had issues. And that's great, especially too, if you want to resell that later at a later date and refresh your fleet or equipment, fab equipment. I mean, what better way to show them, hey, this machine has been maintained and maintained over the time we've had it. And here, Mr. Customer, we're going to go ahead and sell it to you. So,
yeah, great.
All right, Bryce, do we have any more questions?
Yes. So I noticed a different attachment on the Hornet during the video. What function does that attachment provide?
Jeff, you want to repeat the question?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. They noticed a different attachment on the Hornet during the process, and they wanted to know what that's for.
Yes. So the attachment that you may have seen on the Hornet during the video there was that's actually going to be able to allow the Hornet to now fuse 1/2 inch and 3/8 inch PEX adapters on outlet fittings, along with threaded connections straight onto the pipe. So it's going to expand the capability a little bit as compared to just doing fusion outlets where you'll socket fuse in the top. Now it expands it into the PEX adapters and all that kind of stuff.
So instead of a puck for that piece, it's actually wrapping itself around the brass fitting, carefully around that brass fitting to be able to put it onto the pipe so you can fuse that.
Right. Yeah.
Before those pipe holes weren't big enough to fit a puck in it. So we've accommodated that by adding this accessory to the accessories package. So it should come with, from now on, it'll come with this. And if you have older Hornets that do not have this accessory, we can sell that to you and make sure you have it in that package.
Yep. Yeah. Pretty simple little design, just wraps right around the fitting holder. And then it's got little rubber collars in there that protect that copper coming out and protect it. So it shouldn't affect it at all. So what else we got, Bryce?
So our next question is, do y'all have a recommended way to track your tooling on job sites via GPS?
They want to know how any effective ways that they can track their equipment on job sites.
So if you mean by track, like track location, if that's what we're talking about, It's pretty common practice. I know on at least the HDPE side, I've seen a lot of folks do it, especially when you get into like the big Trackstar 900s, you know, machines that are worth a little bit more, so to speak.
Yeah.
Though it's pretty common to put, you know, some form of tracking device, whether it's an air tag or something like that on there. That way, in case the machine is misplaced, you do have some way to locate it.
Yeah, and I've talked to several of our partners on the polypropylene side who the first thing they do whenever they get those machines in, they put an air tag on them so they know where those machines are, just in case someone gets on a job site who's not supposed to, and they think they're going to go sell an Acrobat 160 online on eBay, and they think they know what they're getting into, but folks can find where that equipment is. So absolutely, yeah, I would highly suggest investing in some sort of air tag process for your equipment on job sites, because you know sometimes those things just get misplaced or moved around because they're trying to some other contractor has come in and just moved the stuff around, and you have no idea where your 160 or 250 ended up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, air tags kind of the way we've seen people go with that.
Yeah, these are good questions though. What about anything?
Our next question has to do with what resources do I have to order those specialized fittings that we were displaying?
Okay.
What the question is, what resources can we utilize to get the special fittings that we talked about? Special fittings meaning like the larger diameter, 90s and 45s and things like that, or T's or something like that.
Yeah, those are all going to be provided by your pipe partner. And usually they'll have a catalog that's going to list them all out by part number. And then you pretty much just have to get in contact with them, whoever it is, and then order the applicable part number, and then they're going to ship that right to your location.
Yeah, there might be a distributor too out there that also has the capability to make those, and also your pipe partner would have the capability of making those things, and then you as a local fab shop can order those pieces as those part numbers in as just part of your job, and then build the rest there. So great opportunity for you to be able to use that as a resource and bring in all the parts and pieces you need to do the job at your own place.
So our next question is, what are some basic electrical requirements if I were to try to start up a fabrication shop?
Electrical requirements is the question, right? What electrical requirements do I have? And Anthony, we get this a lot.
We do get this one a lot, and it's a great question to think about before you start buying a lot of equipment and setting up a fabrication shop. We already touched on it a lot as we were walking around the equipment today, but a lot of the McElroy stuff is already built in to be with that minimal power requirement. You heard us say that time and again, whether it was with the bigger quick fit HPU or the smaller EP800 APUs, they're all going to be minimal power requirements. And for the most part, if you're just running, standard in the US 120 volt, that's going to power everything up to a 315.
Yeah.
So you're not going to need anything too crazy. And the only thing that's going to require more than that 120 volt outlet is going to be the Acrobat Quick Fit HPU, which is going to jump up to 240, but it's still single phase, so it's really not too big of a deal.
Yeah, and when we say that you're going to need minimum power requirements, you'll need the minimum power requirement for that piece of machinery. So don't think that you can plug 15 of those machines into that same unit or to that same wall plug, on a surge protector or something like that. It still has the power requirement, but it's drawing the minimal amount of power from the source to make sure it can run the machine, the HPU, the facer, and the heater. So what you want to look out for are the right number of outlets for you to use, and then let's stay away from those 50 or 100 foot power cords, because that's going to reduce the amount of power. I don't know how many times we've had our partners go out and they do their training and they say, hey, you got to make sure you meet the power requirements. Don't use big extension cords. And then you hear someone on the job site come back and say, these things aren't working. You find out there's a 100-foot cord on the job site. You need to be able to bring it closer to the power source, so it's going to be able to power that unit, and you're not going to have any issues with it.
Yeah, but if there's one thing to take away from that pre-job setup when you're thinking about electrical or a fab shop, it's that piece of info right there. Making sure those extension cords are rated properly, so your equipment's getting the proper power.
Yeah. So good questions today.
Yeah,
a lot of questions. Yeah. Thanks for the activity.
Our last question is, are we going to have any more webinars?
Are we going to have any more webinars? Well, Anthony, I mean,
yes.
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
short answer is yes. We're going to keep doing them. We do usually one a quarter. And we would love to hear from you guys. Email us, call us, let us know what you want the next topic to be. We're open to suggestions. And yeah, once a quarter is what we're focusing on. And keep your eye on your email, because we're going to keep sending out those invites for whatever the next topic is and whoever may be in it.
Yeah, and invite anybody else who that might benefit from watching something like this. And if you know someone who this particular video would benefit from, it will be recorded and put out there so they can watch it later. So we do that. We've got great content for all our learning management system items. So we're able to educate you guys as best we can. So it's repeatable and you can watch it at your leisure. But we appreciate you coming here today when we do this, because the live questions really, really add to the entire experience of what we can provide you here when we do this. So we'll let you know pretty soon what the next one's going to be and when it's going to be. But Anthony does a great job putting these things together, and I'm just lucky that he puts me in the video, even though I have a face for radio.
Anytime, Jeff. We're going to keep you in the video, even though we like your radio voice too.
I appreciate it. Appreciate it.
All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you next time on our next webinar that we're going to do next quarter.
Thanks, Bryce, for being here. Thanks, Thurman. Yes. Thanks, Walter, Paul,
thank you for
everybody.
The whole setup team.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Thanks Billy,
guys
Adam,
in the back.
Matt. We appreciate you guys. All right. Bye. Hi, Mom.
Thanks, everyone.